And we begin tonight by putting faces and names to Flint's deadly water emergency. John Snyder, Deborah Kidd, Brian McHugh, Dwayne Nelson, Nelda Hunt, Peter Dersha, Thomas Mulcahy, Arthur Percy, and Patricia Schaefer. These 9 people shared the same diagnosis, Legionnaires' disease, all of them dying within 3 months of each other in the summer of 2015. Tonight we are hearing from the family of one of these victims, now that a second round of criminal charges has been filed.
I think as a family, we were just happy that the state attorney general followed through on their pledge to at least see this investigation to the end.
Mike Snyder's dad, John, died in June 2015. It's believed he contracted Legionnaire's disease while being treated at McLaren Flint Hospital. This is the second time former state health officials Nick Lyon and Dr. Eden Wells are charged with his death. Their cases were initially dropped in June 2019. As our Ann Perrette shares, John Snyder's family had their doubts on whether anyone would be held accountable again.
John Snyder was a well-known real estate appraiser in Flint. He retired in 2014, and his family tells me their sharp-minded, always on-the-go father had much more life to live. But John Snyder passed away a year later, just a few months after he was first admitted to McLaren Flint in April of 2015.
I think, just as we said before, it's so unfortunate, just a complete cluster bleep all the way around.
John Snyder would have turned 90 years old this year. While his son, Mike Snyder, isn't sure he'd still be around today, he knows they shouldn't have lost him the way they did in June 2015. John Snyder died of Legionnaire's disease at age 83, right before his next birthday.
Somebody loved life. That, as I say, there was never an occasion where there was a chance to celebrate for some reason. You know, St. Patrick's Day, you know, Big Brothers at Luigi's for old newsboys. There was never much grass that ever grew under his feet.
Mike Snyder says their family met with the new investigative team about a year ago, where they learned the investigation was continuing. But that's the only conversation he says they had. And
kind of the abruptness of how the previous investigation ended, he just kind of, well, maybe they just want to get it down the road, which I'm sure they still do. But no, we had our doubts.
But Mike Snyder says someone needed to be held accountable for his dad's death. The new team announced yesterday state health officials Nick Lyon and Dr. Eden Wells will be.
We're not out for vengeance from that standpoint. Obviously, their lives have been turned upside down, too, for better or worse. There's not an apology, but there's an acknowledgement. So, but that's the best it is. That's the best it is.
In the first criminal investigation, Mike Snyder's sister testified about their dad's final months. He's not sure yet what role they'll play in the expected trials against Wells and Lyon. In Flint, Ann Perrette, ABC 12 News.
All right, and thank you. Nick Lyon's attorney did put out a statement after learning his client was being charged again. It reads in part, "Our hearts go out to Flint citizens who have endured the fallout from that decision, but it does not help the people of Flint or our criminal justice system for the state to charge innocent people with crimes. Mr. Lyon is innocent," adding he did not make the decision to switch the water supply and had nothing to do with handling the water.